Starting us off at number 10, Jimmy Fallon. The beloved late night host has been knocked down a few pegs after mass scrutiny has been launched his way. Following the Black Lives Matter movement, many celebrities have had their past dissected by fans for their racist histories. Jimmy Fallon is now one of those celebrities under the microscope. After a clip from a sketch back in 2000 resurfaced, Jimmy was heavily scrutinized for his participation in performing in blackface. In the skit, Jimmy was supposed to be impersonating actor Chris Rock. Haven't we learned by now that blackface is bad? I mean, blackface has always been bad, but really, must we remind people every few years about this? Also, why was it even necessary to put on blackface to impersonate Chris? He's more than just a skin color, people. Needless to say, a lot of people are upset with Jimmy for this, and even had the hashtag JimmyFallonIsOverParty trending on Twitter when the news broke. Jimmy has since apologized for his actions, but many say that they will never see the host the same way again. In at number 9, Vanessa Hudgens. Vanessa Hudgens is next up on our list of the most hated celebrities of the year because of her comments made about the current global health crisis. Back in March, when this whole crisis sort of began, Vanessa took to her Instagram live and spoke out about her thoughts of the situation. Vanessa went on to say, even if everybody gets it, like, yeah, people are gonna die, which is terrible, but inevitable? Fans were seriously not happy with her remarks and decided to cancel her for it. I mean, I don't blame them. Sure, back when it was the beginning of all this madness, we didn't know how long things were gonna last, but come on, this isn't a situation to make light of. I know we were all bored of being stuck at home and we were struggling with the uncertainty of it all, but still, it's not a very nice thing to say. Vanessa later went back to social media to clear up some things, saying, "I don't take the situation lightly by any means." She apologized for her remarks and has tried to move on from the situation, but it still made her quite a bit of a public enemy for a while. Cruising through at number 8, we have Elon Musk. We've seen a lot of controversy come out about Elon this year. From naming his kid after a barcode to his views on the global health crisis, Elon hasn't been in everyone's good books this year. The SpaceX founder has been scrutinized on Twitter all year, and it seems that no one's really buying into his crap anymore. Even partner Grimes had to call him out on his tweets. Most recently, Grimes had to make Elon come to his senses after tweeting about his views on pronouns. Grimes, who is a big advocate for transgender and non-binary rights, had issued a response to Elon's tweet after saying that pronouns suck, by replying with saying, "I love you, but please turn off your phone. I cannot support hate. Please stop this. I know this isn't your heart." Fans were not happy about the remarks made by Elon, but that's nothing new. Elon has also vocalized his support of rapper Kanye West as he tried running for president, and has even made light of the current health crisis by tweeting "Free America Now" in an effort to get people back to work. My conclusion with Elon here is that he needs to take a break from the internet for a while. He's been ruffling people's feathers a lot this year, so I think it'll do everyone some good to see him stop tweeting for a while. Over here at number 7, we have Lea Michele. Back in June, actress Lea Michele saw her career take a nosedive after co-worker Samantha Ware spoke out about her time on set with Lea, calling it a living hell. The dam holding her career together bust wide open, and a whole slew of allegations against Lea began to surface. Lea had posted a tweet regarding George Floyd saying that the racism must end. Samantha then replied to this tweet saying, "Remember when you made my first TV gig a living hell?" and referenced how her many microaggressions made Samantha question her career in Hollywood. Judging by the fact that Samantha's tweet was in all caps, I think it's safe to say that she's pissed and she's looking for accountability. It wasn't too long after this initial tweet that more people began to come forward and discuss their grievances with Lea. Even her partnership with popular food brand HelloFresh fell through, as they declared that they do not condone racism or discrimination of any kind. To make matters worse for the actress, the apology that she issued wasn't really much of an apology, as she stated that she didn't remember the behavior that she was being accused of, but she had clearly acted in ways which hurt other people. Now, with her accusations and sorry excuse for an apology, no one's really out here trying to forgive Lea, and I personally believe that it'll be a while before we see anyone budge on that. Why can't we all just be nice to people? At number 6, Hartley Sawyer. Flash actor Hartley Sawyer, known for his role as the Elongated Man, is in some deep trouble with fans. Recently, some of Hartley's tweets from 2012 have resurfaced, and boy are they ever problematic. The now fired actor is being scrutinized for some harsh words sent on Twitter regarding his past racist and misogynistic views. Some of Hartley's tweets are so incredibly vile that I was shocked when I read them. And there are so freaking many. Normally when a celebrity is called out for past tweets, it's usually just a few, but this is way more than just a few. There is like an avalanche worth of horrible things said by Sawyer. Where did this come from? There are so many misogynistic tweets that discuss abuse and calling women animals and beasts that is just so much. If you've ever watched him on The Flash, you know that his character is a pretty sweet dude, so looking at him from this point of view is a serious shock to the system.
At number 5, Chris Brown. Chris Brown used to be a heartthrob that stole our hearts. However, for more than a decade, Brown has repeatedly been accused of treating women poorly, making it really hard for any of us to support the guy. The most high-profile incident involves his former girlfriend Rihanna. When news broke about the way he treated her, we were all left heartbroken to see the images that TMZ leaked of her face. Following the incident, Chris Brown just seemed to get more aggressive, and multiple women would go on to file restraining orders and even call police on the star. The fact that Chris Brown still even had a career after what he did to Rihanna had us all shook. However, his controversial actions have made it pretty hard for any of us to support him, and there's a reason why a lot of us can't even listen to his songs anymore. And number 4, Paris Hilton. Paris Hilton and her family used to be the Kardashians of Hollywood. However, the blonde heiress quickly went from being someone we all wanted to be being someone we all wanted to forget. The reason many people seem to hate the star is because over the last decade, she has been marketed as a spoiled rich girl by the media and doesn't even seem to notice. She hasn't really been working, and she's been using her connections to live out this teenage dream even though she's no longer a teenager. If she would just live a quiet life and be unproblematic, people might actually start to like her again. She keeps trying to ruin people's dreams and hopes by incorporating the idea that if you want to make it, you need to have rich parents, which isn't true at all. She's made it pretty hard to actually support her, and her image not only hurts herself, but it hurts her family as well. At number 3, Nicki Minaj. Okay, we all used to be huge Nicki Minaj fans because she made all of our Barbie dreams come true. Being one of the most successful female rappers, we all used to sit in our basements and scream out her lyrics, especially when it came to her song Super Bass. However, over the last decade, the star has been pretty problematic, and it really made us question her true motives. It seems like if you're a rapper entering into the industry under Nicki, you better watch out, because it seems like she comes for everyone in an attempt to block them from reaching the top. Just take her feud with Cardi B for an example. These two women had the chance to become a powerful duo. However, Nicki felt threatened that another female was climbing the ranks faster than she ever could, and she decided to come for Cardi in a chance to snub her rise. Who can forget the time Cardi threw her shoe at Minaj? It was just one of those moments we knew that we could no longer trust the rapper, as she was no longer real, and she proved that she was really unsupportive towards other females entering into the industry, which was really sad to see. And number 2, Rebecca Black. Rebecca Black was cute until she released her single Friday in 2011. After that, we all started to dislike her for having the most horrendous song stuck in our heads. I swear, even to this day, when I hear the word Friday, all my brain can think of it's Friday, I'm gonna get down on a Friday. And if you haven't heard the song, take my advice, don't, as you just might not like Fridays anymore. After Friday was released, it was quickly dubbed as the world's worst song. Now, Rebecca's video would rack up millions of views, but the reviews were mainly negative, with hundreds of thousands of negative comments. Rebecca would even try to go on to resume her career, but she could never leave Friday behind, which caused her to disappear from the industry completely. And at number 1 today, we have Kristen Stewart. For many years, we all admired Kristen Stewart until she became labeled as problematic and accused of wheeling out some pretty bad behavior in a bid to score attention in headlines. Many people actually started to hate on Kristen Stewart because of her role in the movie franchise Twilight. When many people started to label her as a bad actress, many people forgot to realize that her character in the movie was actually just planned badly, and that throughout her entire career in Hollywood, she has proven to be an extremely talented actress. When Kristen was caught cheating on Robert Pattinson, many fans would come for the star as they felt betrayed that she could do something so horrible to someone so beautiful. The media also has a tendency to go with any story they have on her, and some articles have even had her fans divided on whether they should love her or hate her.
Coming up first on my list is Janelle Evans, who was on Teen Mom. While she was pregnant with her baby in 2010, she was arrested and charged with illegal substance possession and had admitted to smoking while pregnant with her baby. She's been in and out of trouble for the same charges over the years, even as early as 2013. A lot of people really hated her for her rather controversial parenting, choosing oftentimes her boyfriend over her child. She's also got quite the temper and has been in several fights. One time she even punched her former best friend in the face after she got her flirting with her boyfriend, and she was arrested a week later for violence towards a separate person. She's also got the highlight reel of throwing a glass at her ex's new girlfriend and tons of altercations with her boyfriend himself. Even more recently, in the past few years, she's made quite the name for herself on TikTok, but not in the good way. Her new husband has stated that he hates gay people. On top of that, he made headlines because he killed the family dog because of aggression, which, by the way, usually that means that the dog isn't trained well enough. I think there's room for pity though, just a little bit. She's been in some really harmful relationships and may not think that she deserves any better, but I don't know. Who am I to judge? Next on the list is Omarosa Manigault. Omarosa worked alongside Donald Trump while on The Celebrity Apprentice. She was well known for her rude and mean-spirited attitude towards others while on the show. A TV Guide poll showed that 50% of people who watched the show indicated that Omarosa was the reality star that they hated the most. She constantly fought with other contestants about little things and was generally just unliked. She also caused a stir while off camera for filing a lawsuit against her fellow contestant, LaToya Jackson, accusing her of her fiance's death. And also the whole working for Trump thing, who is very obviously a controversial ex-president, so couple that with a massive ego and you get a pretty unlikable person. Who knew? Next up is Abhishek Chatterjee, or as most of us know him, Shake from Love is Blind Season 2. We watched Shake tear down what many consider to be the hero of that season, Deepti Venpati, who by constantly nitpicking her looks. He spoke behind her back about how he wasn't attracted to her and felt lukewarm about marrying the woman he supposedly felt a connection to within the pods. While we saw Deepti struggle with her insecurities of her looks, Shake only served to further tank her feelings of self-worth. Despite all that, he still went to the altar and was going to marry Deepti, but thankfully she chose herself and decided not to marry the man who basically bullied her. Despite himself being Indian, he stated that he wasn't attracted to Indian girls and that he cares more for looks than most people. Nowadays, he's pretty well unliked, and when he posted his new girlfriend recently, Twitter was armed and ready with a few snide jokes towards the reality contestant. Next on the list is Jonathan Baker from The Amazing Race. While on The Amazing Race, Jonathan became known for one thing and one thing only: his temper. He was genuinely like just a garbage person, constantly picking fights with anyone and anything. His anger ran so deep that he would even pick fights with his wife, Victoria Fuller. In one instance, she was carrying his backpack so that it wouldn't get stolen, which caused them to finish in second place. He was so enraged at her that he shoved his own wife in an altercation that quickly turned physical. While people certainly didn't like him before that instance, they definitely didn't like him after that. Thankfully for Victoria, however, she would end up divorcing that pig later in life. Next on the list is Erin Grimes, a Big Brother contestant. She's known for making the game way too personal, and her mean girl attitude turned a lot of people away from her. She got into multiple fights with other contestants, and then when she made some snide racist comments towards her fellow Asian and Black contestants, it basically sealed the deal. She made quite a few controversial statements that just overall made America think she had a pretty ugly personality. And even in the house, her bad attitude made her extremely disliked. In fact, Erin's comments even had real-world implications when she made main story newscasts, which normally doesn't happen for reality contestants. She even lost her job for racism, so definitely be careful what you say when the whole world is watching.
Number 5. Gina Carano. Now, I don't believe that having a political opinion that isn't the majority should have you cancelled. That's on the side of ridiculous. It stands against free speech and it's pretty undemocratic. That being said though, comparing the division between Republicans and Democrats to World War II Europe and the atrocities that happened there is just downright stupid, and you are bound to receive backlash. Gina Carano, the former MMA fighter turned Mandalorian star, enraged some fans with a series of politically charged social media posts, including the one I just mentioned in February 2021. Removing the problematic words that would get this video demonetized, her Instagram post read, quote, "Most people today don't realize that to get to the point where soldiers could easily easily round up thousands of Jews, the government first made their own neighbors hate them simply for being Jews. How is that any different from hating someone for their political views? Answer to that question is, it's very different, Gina. But she didn't back down, and it only got worse when she said on Twitter that her preferred pronouns are beep bop boop, which she defended by saying that she was, quote, exposing the bullying mentality of the mob that has taken over the voices of many genuine causes. And she decided to do that by openly mocking the LGBTQ+ community. Not too much later, the hashtag Fire Gina Carano began trending on Twitter, and Disney severed ties with the actress. Her management company, United Talent Agency, also dropped her, but yet Carano turned to her pals on the right and worked on Terror on the Prairie, produced by the Daily Wire, a conservative media company. So she's not fully cancelled, but do you think she should be? That's the real question. Number 4, Nick Cannon. Back in 2020, a podcast recording featuring actor, show host, and celebrity father of like 30 children, Nick Cannon, making several comments that many deemed incredibly insensitive, but specifically anti-Semitic. Cannon also discussed offensive conspiracy theories that focused on Jewish people specifically as well. Now, when news of these recordings spread and the anger of the people continued to grow, Cannon was still allowed to continue his work on The Masked Singer, but his longtime producing partner, Viacom CBS, ended their relationship with the actor, who was hosting his incredibly popular Wild 'N Out under the production company. This meant the star could no longer host Wild 'N Out. Now, after the scandal broke, Cannon did publicly apologize, and he even met with rabbis and gave money to a Jewish organization. And likely because of that, in 2021, Viacom CBS responded to his efforts by reinstating him as the host of Wild 'N Out. I personally think he just needs to stop producing so many damn children, but do you think his actions deserve greater repercussions? Number 3, Chris Brown. I'm actually surprised by how popular the R&B star Chris Brown still is. As most people know, the singer faced extreme scrutiny after multiple reports confirmed that he had a brutal physical altercation with his former partner and fellow musician, Rihanna. Most of us have seen the pictures of Rihanna's face after the fact. He even pled guilty to the incident and was required to perform community service. Now sure, Brown expressed remorse for his actions towards Rihanna, but then he returned to releasing songs and albums with actual success. The worst part is that his success stories were also reported alongside articles that he had even more similar experiences with other women who also publicly outed him. Despite the controversy though, Brown won an award for male R&B artist at the AMAs in 2022, which was met with some boos, but he walked away fairly unscathed and continues to go on as if nothing ever happened. Number 2, Louis C.K. Still a success in his own bubble for a good chunk of time, Louis C.K. was among the biggest names in comedy, but that changed when a group of female comics revealed his actions performed in the bedroom without their consent. Now, Louis even admitted to his actions following the publication of an investigative story in the New York Times in 2017. A detailed statement on what he did and an apology to the women he did it to was released, and the scandal led to the scrapping of his movie I Love You Daddy, a TV deal with FX, and a large number of pre-booked performances. It cost the comic about $35 million in earnings, and his management and publicists dropped him. But yet, Louis C.K. has continued touring and playing venues including Madison Square Garden to fans who really just couldn't care less. Now, Louis distributes his own material, so he's continued to have comedy specials which can be bought directly from his website, and he even purchased a commercial spot during an episode of SNL. He also won the 2022 Best Comedy Album Grammy for Sincerely Louis C.K., but still he did take a hit, and he isn't likely to be making a comeback to what he once had. Do you think that's good enough punishment, or should the repercussions for his actions be more severe as well? And finally, in at number 1 is Will Smith. Now listen, I think just like Ezra Miller and Kanye West, acting legend Will Smith is having a tough go in his personal life that is kind of bleeding out into the public. Will Smith has been one of my favorite actors for years, but none of that makes it okay to storm a stage and get physical with a performer, whether they make fun of your wife's alopecia or not. But that's exactly what he did at the 2022 Oscars to comedian Chris Rock, who compared Jada Pinkett Smith to G.I. Jane as a joke without knowing that she did suffer from the hair loss. Smith then sat back down and yelled the infamous "keep my wife's name out of your effing mouth," as we all know. Now, Judd Apatow, Jim Carrey, Amy Schumer, Wanda Sykes, and Zoe Kravitz, plus others, all publicly spoke out against the actor's actions, though others came to his defense, including Tiffany Haddish, Denzel Washington, and Jamila Jamil. Now, Sony is said to have put Bad Boys 4 on hold, and Netflix has backburnered Fast and Loose, and CAA, his agency, also reportedly discussed dropping Smith as a client, but ultimately they did not. But for this one, it seems that Smith felt almost instant regret, as evident in his Oscar acceptance speech later on in the awards show. He also ended up quitting the Academy of Motion Pictures Arts and Sciences, and the Academy then banned him from the ceremony for 10 years. It remains to be seen what will happen with his career going forward and the boatload of projects he is attached to. Do you think he should come back from this one, or do you think that he should kind of just stay off in the dark?
In at number 10, J-Station. With close to 6 million subscribers, J-Station has cultivated a massive audience over the years of people that love to get scared. Now, clearly all of his videos are pre-planned, but that really didn't seem to matter to them. At one point in time, people really did love his content. Although as time went on, he never really grew with his viewers. The thumbnails had more clickbait and the titles were bizarre, and not too long ago, he actually faked the death of his girlfriend. Well, ex-girlfriend, I guess. Oddly enough, they had just started a channel together, but for whatever reason, he coerced her into making a video to fake her own death. People honestly had no idea if he was telling the truth or not until she made a video exposing him and his manipulation. It would have been bad enough had he just made that video, but then he monetized a video about her resurrection, which was just bizarre. It was all very, very weird, and from that, he kind of lost a ton of subscribers. And then just said, see you later. In at number 9, Jake Paul. Whether or not you have ever enjoyed Jake Paul's content, he certainly has built an impressive fan base over the years simply by acting like a maniac. He has garnered over 20 million subscribers on YouTube, most of which truly love the content that he's posted over the years, and Jake already had some people kind of beginning to hate him when he started trying to sell this gambling service called Mystery Box to his younger fans. But the straw that really broke the camel's back came when he decided to do some filming in Arizona. During the riots that took place in multiple areas around the city, Jake found himself on camera being handed a bottle of vodka that was stolen from a P.F. Chang's. Following that, he was arrested for unlawful assembly and trespassing after multiple eyewitness accounts notified the police. Now, if he was still a truly beloved YouTuber, do you really think that people would call the cops on him? I don't think so. I mean, clearly people didn't like that he was even in their vicinity, and getting him arrested was proof that he is now officially hated. In at number 8, Danielle Cohn. At 15 years old, Danielle was coming for all of the views when she posted a series of videos showcasing that she was both pregnant and getting married. Although it wasn't long until her mother pulled a Tekashi 6ix9ine and ratted her out to BuzzFeed. Danielle's mother said that her daughter's wedding was fake and meant to be clickbait, but she did not comment on the pregnancy, so there was still that too. Later on, as the controversy developed and her views just kept going up, Danielle admitted that the entire thing was manufactured, for which her fans deemed extremely irresponsible. Especially considering she has a younger base of followers, this behavior should be called out. In at number 7, the Ace family. The Ace family has just over 18 million subscribers and have become very well known for the pranks that they would play on each other. After taking part in online challenges and overall blogging their day-to-day life, people really started to love them. Although this family-friendly channel came under fire after the head of the family, Austin McBroom, started acting not so family friendly. Austin's first point of backlash has to be when he took his wife's 5-year-old sister into, let's say, an erotic store, and then he filmed himself buying a phallic lollipop for her. Almost every person was disgusted by this, and their subscribers definitely took a hit. Although by far the thing that got him the most backlash was when he posted to Twitter saying, "Some of y'all are ungrateful for free content. Some of y'all should be charged every time you watch someone's video. I don't know why y'all think it's just so easy to make videos every day or every other day. If it was so easy, everyone including yourself would be doing it." This was met with fire and brimstone on Twitter, and people ripped him up and down for this statement. He later removed the tweet, but luckily someone had a screenshot. In at number 6, Rice Gum. In his first popular video, Rice Gum criticized young social media stars who made their name on the app Musical.ly. He called out the app's biggest stars for the behavior in their Musical.ly videos, which he thought was inappropriate for their ages. This kind of stirring up drama with other YouTubers is what made people attracted to his content. Along with that, his videos range from diss tracks with whack bars to overly sexualized thumbnails, all leading to his annoying mouth firing off about practically nothing. His mystery box scandal that immediately felt fake to anyone that's at an age of critical thinking is most likely what what led him to getting the most hate though. None of his audience members had a problem with him stirring up beef with other YouTubers because they are in a position of power. Although when you promote a gambling service to underage viewers and accept the checks without looking into the details, that just comes off as evil, dude. Instead of taking full responsibility for what he had done, RiceGum leans into the claims made against him. He proceeds to shift blame and snitches on other YouTubers who have made similar videos asking for them to be called out instead. When does that ever work? Never. The answer is never.
Halfway through at number 5, Chris D'Elia. There's been a lot of hate towards Chris D'Elia following accusations of making advances on underage girls and sexual misconduct. There have been several young women who have come forward to claim that Chris had made advances on them when they were under the age of 18. Many of the young women claim that they've been groomed by Chris and have been sharing their experiences on Twitter as well as proof of their encounters with the comedian. But these girls aren't the only ones to come forward with claims of inappropriate behavior against Chris. There was also an alleged incident where Chris exposed himself to a hotel staff member when he called for assistance with his room, and when the woman left, he tried to get her to come back in his room again. Like she would? I mean, come on. The backlash against Chris had cost him some of his fan base as well as his upcoming show dropped by Netflix. In at 4, Lana Del Rey. This year, singer Lana Del Rey has come under fire for her comments about women in music. Lana was receiving hate for bringing up a double standard that stars like Nicki Minaj, Beyonce, Doja Cat, and others receive praise for their music talking about being sexy, wearing no clothes, and other topics, whereas critics have called Lana out for allegedly glamorizing abuse and other things. Lana claimed that the fact that she gets hate for singing about certain topics isn't fair for her, and that there should be a feminist community for women like her who get their voices taken away by other stronger women or men who hate women. She was also criticized on Twitter for calling out women of color to support her argument, though people say that she had completely glossed over how those women have also had their struggles with writing about their own issues, and called Lana out for her white privilege. Although there were some who agreed with her statement, some did not like the way that she worded it. At number 3, Liu Yifei. Liu Yifei is the new leading lady in the Disney live-action remake of Mulan. Though the movie has been pushed back because of the pandemic, the film has finally been released, but people are trying to boycott the movie because of Yifei's support of the Hong Kong police. There has been a lot of controversy surrounding the Hong Kong police as they've been clashing with protesters who are pro-democracy in the country. There have been many violent clashes in the past, and the UN Human Rights Office as well as Amnesty International have condemned the Hong Kong police for their use of force against protesters. People online have been very angry with the actress's support of the police force because of her large following, saying that she could have been a voice for justice rather than supporting the brutality. The movie has also come under fire for filming in an area that is currently being used as detention camps for minorities and has been condemned as human rights abuse by human rights advocates. In at number 2, Bella Thorne. This year, Bella Thorne has been receiving backlash because of her OnlyFans scam. The former Disney star announced a few weeks ago that she was starting an OnlyFans page where fans could pay to see exclusive content of the star. The response to her launch was huge, and she made over $1 million in the first 24 hours of the site being live, but soon the success came back to haunt her. Fans were not happy with the content and requested a refund for their purchases, and because the OnlyFans guidelines permitted that, customers received their refund, but at the expense of many other creators on the site. The money that was returned to the customers was tied to the income of many other creators, and therefore OnlyFans was in a deficit and were not able to pay other creators as a result. People were really upset with Bella because her scam cost other creators their income, since they were gonna have to wait 30 days to cash out their earnings instead of the usual 7. Fans were hating on Bella not only for scamming her customers by not providing what they thought she would, but also because she single-handedly broke the system which supplied payments for other creators on the platform. Finally, at number 1, J.K. Rowling. There's a lot going on with J.K. over here. She's been getting hate for months now, and every time she comes out with a new statement, it just keeps getting worse. All of this started back in June when J.K. came out with statements about transgender people, and many people took offense to what she'd been saying. J.K. spoke out about how women are the only people who menstruate. She posted about TERF, which stands for Trans Exclusionary Radical Feminist. She wrote about her support for a woman who lost her job because she was transphobic, and liked a tweet that compared hormone therapy to antidepressants. Basically, people are hating her because she's allegedly been transphobic. bottom line. Recently, she's dug her grave just a little bit deeper as she announced a new book that explores a cold case involving a transvestite serial killer. Though JK says that she's a supporter of trans rights, her actions seem to say otherwise, so she's been faced with a lot of backlash from the LGBT community, as well as the cast of the Harry Potter movies.
And number 10, we have Jennifer Lawrence. Now, it's no lie that Jennifer Lawrence's career started off strong due to some of her iconic roles in films such as The X-Men and Hunger Games. She also worked really hard for her roles in the films Winter's Bone and Silver Lining Playbook. At the time, she made us think she could do it all, and her down-to-earth personality made us all love her. But then everything started to change and we actually all just started to get pretty annoyed with her actions. Even one time, the star appeared on SNL and began to rage on with her quirky, annoying, relatable charm, and fans started to believe that she was just another Hollywood diva hiding behind this fake cute persona. Then she started appearing in films such as Mother and Red Sparrow, which caused her career to splinter and her fan base would then start to divide. Also, we can't forget the time in Hawaii when she caused a sacred rock fall down the mountain. Whatever the reasons may be, we all can't stop hating on this actor recently. And number 9, Katy Perry. Katy Perry is no stranger to intense media attention, as the pop star has always had high levels of public criticism. It's no lie that Katy Perry absolutely dominated the music scene in 2010 with numerous monster singles off of her album Teenage Dream. However, then the Witness era started and everyone kinda recoiled their support for the star. After Katy cut her hair and dyed it blonde, she would set out to release a string of embarrassing singles like her songs Bon Appetit and Swish Swish. Both songs were actually pretty horrifying to listen to. On top of the songs, Katy began to act really weird and we all didn't catch on to her odd behavior until she made an appearance on Ellen, and it made us all cringe. She even had Ellen wishing the show was over. Now, Katy was dealing with depression at the time, which likely played a huge part in her odd behavior and dramatic transformation. However, her newly woke image and her ongoing feud with Taylor Swift have been pretty criticized, and it's hard to support the star as she isn't willing to grow, learn, and change. Hey Peaches, are you enjoying this video so far? If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And number 8, Kanye West. Now, Kanye West is iconic, and he's been pretty popular as a rapper as he's gone on to sell millions of albums. However, that hasn't stopped people from having negative opinions about him. Now, we all used to love Kanye for his ability to speak his mind, however, his actions lately have us all pretty divided when it comes to supporting the star. Many people have started to view Kanye as someone who can't be trusted because it seems like everything lately seems to set the rapper off, and he's been saying a lot of controversial things that make us all just shake our heads. Kanye has been making it into headlines for the wrong reasons, and it has us all questioning why he would try to achieve fame with such meaningless and hurtful statements. I think we can all agree we miss the old Kanye. And number 7, James Charles. James Charles rose to fame quickly when he became the first male CoverGirl spokesperson at the age of 16. However, following a feud with fellow beauty blogger Tati Westbrook, James's following would fall from 16 million to 13 million followers. The drama over James promoting Sugar Bear hair vitamins, which is a direct competitor to Tati's hair supplement company Halo Beauty, would cause both stars to cut ties with each other, and Tati would then come for James and would start to expose a list of his bad behaviors. James's behavior online to be successful and adored by thousands had covered up a dark layer of his true personality, and after Tati exposed him, he only seemed to spiral more out of control, which made us all unfollow the star as we could no longer ignore the red flags he was sending us. And number 6, Jeffree Star. Jeffree Star is a pretty problematic character. No matter what, he's always in the drama. He's caught lying or trying his hardest just to get in or out of drama, and it's exhausting trying to keep up with him. The man has made it his whole life to know the tea on just about every situation in Hollywood, and it really makes us wonder how he has so much time on his hands to be so problematic. Over the years, many people have started calling out the makeup guru, and his fans have a tendency to forget that he hasn't changed and that he's actually just managed to make us all think he did, so he can carry on with his chaotic lifestyle. Jeffree has a tendency to target people and belittle them in ways to make his views soar. Now, you think after being exposed so many times, he would wake up and see that his behavior is no longer okay, but it looks like he won't be changing anytime soon, as his influence has always been problematic problematic, and that's why he's been cancelled.
In at number 5, wrong intentions. This next point falls between the topics of Brie using her voice and being well misunderstood in the industry. As an actress who's been labeled as unafraid to use her voice, her strongly vocalized political and personal views have been commended and strongly hated, in turn leading to hate towards her. The issue with this lies in people deciphering whether or not her views are merely an act or she genuinely stands for them. Additionally, Brie's words and actions tend to be received in an assaulting way while attempting to allegedly take a stand for the greater good. In retrospect, people could just not believe her, or it could be that Brie lacks a good sense of expressiveness that deems her intentions uncertain to those receiving it. It's no wonder everything she says somehow translates into a negative aspect, if so. In at number 4, YouTube made things worse. Brie was already knee-deep in negative attention when she decided to launch her own YouTube channel. The general public was already questioning her every move and talent. And who would have thought creating the channel would have added even more controversy to Brie's list? Certainly not her, I hope. Her content brought in a massive amount of views, but she faced major backlash in the process. Her first video initially received just about as many dislikes as likes, which just isn't the standard for the video sharing platform. Despite fans speaking out in support of Brie, commentators have also expressed their negative opinions. And while as for Brie, she seems to pretend she just simply doesn't see it. In at number 3, scalding statements. There have been questions floating around about whether Brie's deeply shocking comments can be classified as feminism or discrimination. Many of her statements are indeed strong-minded and bold, often calling out or saying things that hold truth to those who are guilty. But this also leads to netizens' opinions of intimidation. However, a handful of Brie's comments have heavily leaned towards the side of discrimination, but not in the racial sense as one may think. This would be feministic discrimination according to reports. A lot of what Brie says has caused her to be labeled a difficult woman who hates white males. And obviously, people's opinions are valid, but this may be a bit overboard. It could also be true though, so I'll let you all be the judge of this point. In number 2, jealousy. Now this next one isn't very fact-based, as according to fans of Brie, the reason she's so hated is a case of plain old classic jealousy. That hint of the ugly green venomous emotion can perhaps be the real reason people despise her, and it wouldn't be very shocking if so. She's an actress who keeps landing huge roles, is unafraid to use her platform, and continues growing in success. Surely this is grounds for some type of envy, right? But is this disdain based on truth, or are people really just envious of her unabashed accomplishments? Well, let's take note of other stars who faced insane amount of hate on their come up, for example, like Meghan Markle, Jake Paul, and Yoko Ono. All these celebrities seem to have their own separate reasons for being rumoredly problematic or reportedly worth being chewed up and spit out in the media. And it seems Brie has unfortunately long since joined that pity party. And in at number 1, maxed out talent. Critics have deemed it mutually impossible to factor out whether or not Brie's talents are now limited or if her reputation perceives her and people just can't stand it. A lot of the questions surrounding her abilities stem from her role as Captain Marvel, as discussed earlier. As this is a huge and widely supported industry, it's no surprise fans were unhappy with at least one actor in the MCU. But can we blame it all on her portrayal? Who knows? Still, Brie never really strived to change anything about her character to possibly win fans over, just ignored their vocalization for change. And of course, no one is ever as angry as a group of supporters who remain unnoticed, hence the hate that followed. Though Brie is talented, the question here is whether she has the right talent for what she's still doing.
But coming in at number 10, it's Liam Neeson. Liam Neeson is an actor who has been around for a long time. He is an incredibly talented actor, being in huge franchises like the Dark Knight trilogy and Star Wars, not to mention the many awards he has received for his acting. Despite all that though, he really shocked the world when he publicly admitted in an interview that he once wanted to indiscriminately end the lives of specifically black people after a female friend of his was ruthlessly attacked by a black person. This was about 40 years ago. Speaking to The Independent about how he got into one of his characters for a film, he said, quote, "I went up and down areas with a Kosh, hoping I'd be approached by somebody. I'm ashamed to say that. And I did it for maybe a week, hoping some black something would come out of a pub and have a go at me about something, you know? So that I could, and I have to leave the rest up to your imagination of what he could do." But needless to say, many people were pretty furious. Had it been a lesser actor, this may have spelled out the end of his career, yet because Neeson admitted this action in a seemingly apologetic and remorseful way, he was actually hailed by some people as being courageous for admitting and seeking forgiveness. Some people but not everyone. Despite many people having no sympathy for Neeson's actions, the actor seems to have simply walked away from the entire incident unscathed. It seems a mixture of his status as one of the most bankable stars in Hollywood and the fact that he confessed himself, apologized later, and sought forgiveness on his own has saved him from being cancelled. Number 9. Ezra Miller. Ezra Miller had been having a really good steady climb up the ladder of Hollywood, killing it in Perks of Being a Wallflower, getting a large role in the Fantastic Beasts series, and set to star in The Flash as the lead superhero. But then, Miller seemed to go off the deep end. While they have recently issued a public apology saying that they are suffering from complex mental health issues, there have been a string of incidents that will likely ultimately mean that we may not see much of the actor going forward. Starting in 2020 when they were in an altercation with a woman outside a bar in Iceland, we then move on to 2022. Miller was arrested and charged after they got agitated by people singing karaoke at a bar in Hawaii, which led to the actor yelling obscenities, getting physical, and lunging at a woman. Then, in that same month, also in Hawaii, Miller got a restraining order filed against them by a couple after Miller burst into their bedroom, threatening the male victim, and then took some of their belongings, including social security cards, a wallet, passport, license, and bank cards. The next month, in April, the actor was charged and arrested after they got upset and threw a chair at someone, and then we fast forward to June when Miller is accused of having an upsetting relationship with a young woman named Dakota Iron Eyes. This was all followed that same month by another parent who sought legal action after Miller, quote, menaced their family and acted inappropriately. Then it went to another level when in August, Ezra was accused of burglary. As you can probably tell, the whole thing is a lot, even by Hollywood standards, but yet Ezra is still starring in one of the most anticipated superhero films of this year, although he probably won't be starring in anything going forward. Number 8. Kanye West. The thing about Kanye West is that despite his many offenses, of which there have been many, we all know that this isn't the way the guy has always been. And according to those who know the rapper and fashion designer, he is clearly dealing with some pretty prominent issues regarding his mental health. For the things he's said and done, he is almost like shadow cancelled, where people don't really support the artist himself or his newest works, but tons of people still bump his tunes and just find his newest offenses entertaining more than anything else. People especially love and still listen to his older stuff, and because of that, Kanye obviously can still go around doing what he does. If you have seen the artist in recent interviews or when he has spoken at fashion shows, or if you have listened to anything he said recently, I think it's safe to say that Kanye is sick, as in actually dealing with some serious issues. Of course, it doesn't excuse his actions, for which he really should be cancelled for, but what I think he really needs is help. Serious professional help, which is probably true for Ezra Miller too, given the sheer amount of things he's done. Number 7. Ellen. The star talk show host and comedian Ellen DeGeneres was once one of the most beloved celebrities around. Her quirky style, her outspoken political views, and her friendly demeanor often went down well with mostly everyone. Her show was built on her kindness, and the endless stream of A-list entertainers she always had on it also showed how well liked she was in Hollywood. But a bit more recently, the tune has begun to change. According to the complaints, Ellen's management team was often demanding, domineering, and created a toxic work environment, and some were even accused of racism, bullying, and physical mistreatment. The complaints, though, later spilled over to Ellen herself. But what has also come to light is the way she's treated other celebs while literally being filmed on the show. For example, pressuring a pregnant Mariah Carey into revealing that she was pregnant when she wasn't ready to do so by pressuring her to drink champagne. Or when she made Taylor Swift seemingly have a meltdown as she made fun of the amount of Hollywood men who Swift has had relationships with, and then made her go through male celebrities saying whether she has or has not had some kind of interaction with them. While such accusations would usually be enough for other celebrities to be cancelled immediately, Ellen addressed the problems, issued apologies to disgruntled staff, and was relatively unfazed. Sure, her show did eventually come to an end after an epic run, but that wasn't because she was cancelled, it's because she ended the show. Number 6. Jared Leto. Ever since all the way back in 2005, Jared Leto has been facing serious allegations of extremely inappropriate and honestly kinda sick behavior against women of various ages. It's the very reason that DCU director James Gunn has reportedly refused to allow Leto back to reprise his role as the Joker in the franchise going forward. But despite the allegations, which have been coming up for a long time now, he has never seemed to take any kind of hit. He has never faced charges, he has never been outed during the Me Too movement, he hasn't ever been cancelled, and in fact, a lot of people seem to really like this actor. Jared Leto continues to enjoy huge popularity among his fans and even those who are just casual moviegoers. Most other actors would never survive accusations like the ones he has received, but Leto seems to just keep on walking along as if nothing happened and no one bats an eye.
Mike the Situation from Jersey Shore is next on the list. At first, Mike was really only known for constantly flashing his abs, making him the butt of the joke for some time. And while I know people love The Situation because he's certainly the flashiest, a lot of other members of Jersey Shore started to turn on him. It got to the point of violent fights, and it was pretty much well understood that all he cared about was causing drama for everyone else. That being said, I kind of like him. He's pretty funny, and it's not like the Jersey Shore guys are the cream of the crop either. Next up is Spencer Pratt from The Hills. The Hills is a classic reality television show that took off when Lauren Conrad began living with Heidi Montag. The two were really close friends until Heidi began dating Spencer Pratt. He absolutely did not get along with the other contestants in the show, partially because he cheated on Heidi a bunch and didn't treat her well at all. Eventually, Spencer's presence became so contentious in the show that it cost Heidi and Lauren their friendship when Lauren expressed just how much she doesn't like Pratt. And then, to make matters much worse, Spencer reportedly leaked Lauren's adult videotape to the public, causing Lauren's relationship with Heidi to be forever severed. In a television poll about disliked reality TV contestants, Spencer Pratt topped the list as the most hated contestant in history. Next is Jon Gosselin from the reality television show Jon and Kate Plus 8. He got his stardom from becoming an overwhelmed father of 8 children. But while both parents were pretty unliked by audiences, when they got divorced, people started to choose sides. During the rough divorce that obviously was really hard on their children, Jon made headlines for partying with young girls and completely blinged out so cheesily in Ed Hardy clothing and accessories. He basically put his family to the curb now that him and his wife were separated. Years later, it was also revealed by Kate that Jon hasn't seen his kids in years. So yeah, I wouldn't really be the biggest fan of his either. Second to first on the list is Abby Lee Miller from Dance Moms. Abby Lee Miller has been in tons of trouble with viewers for being extremely short-tempered and unprofessional while she taught young girls how to dance. That being said, despite attempting to teach kids how to dance for competitions, people really didn't like Abby Lee Miller because of her mean and unnecessary comments towards the mothers and sometimes the kids themselves. She's a tyrannical ruler, and if she wasn't happy with the performance, her method of correction is rather brutal and unkind towards the kids. A lot of people wonder why mothers even let their kids near Abby. Tons of people who appeared on the show filed lawsuits for emotional damage and in some cases physical harm, with the accusation that Abby was particularly cruel to ham it up for viewers on the show. She was also in prison for fraud after hiding the profits she made from masterclasses, TV deals, and merch sales. She's also been accused of racism and treating black girls differently from white ones, calling them ghetto or urban. While I guess not technically a reality television contestant, kind of like Jon and Jon and Kate Plus 8, I do think that Josh Duggar is so hated that it's hard not to take the cake for this one. In the reality television show 19 Kids and Counting, they chronicle the life of the Duggars, who are Mormons that basically have a crap ton of kids. But then a massive expose revealed just how demented and deranged Josh Duggar really is. It was revealed that Josh had behaved extremely inappropriately, like, you know, R-wording towards underage young girls, including his own sister. And then, to make matters worse, it turned out that he also cheated on his wife when the Ashley Madison scandal leaked a bunch of information about men who wanted to have affairs, Josh being one of them. But what's wild about this is that he got away basically scot-free, only being sent to a recovery center because I guess Mormons don't get divorced. Horrifying person.
Kicking things off at number 10, Ed Brown, also known as Big Ed. Big Ed has made a big impact on viewers during his time on 90 Day Fiancé. But since the beginning, fans of the show haven't been too impressed with Ed and his character. Fans were pretty displeased with how Ed treated his girlfriend Rosemary Vega on the show. Ed faced backlash for lying to her about his height, commenting on her appearance, telling her to get an STD test, and lying to her about wanting more kids. There was just a lot wrong with their relationship, and the fact that when he would lie to Rosemary, he didn't seem remorseful at all. But his actions on the show aren't the only reason why Ed has faced some backlash. Ed's former co-worker came forward with allegations that Ed had harassed and insulted her over the course of several months. Ed's co-worker Lorelai Clemens claimed that Ed was grooming her, and she experienced verbal harassment and ended up in the hospital and dealt with a lot of health issues as a result of an incident that happened with them. He's not really as genuine as he claims to be, and baby, we've seen it. In at number 9, Cardi B. This year, Cardi B has faced heaps of backlash, mostly pertaining to her song WAP. Yes, we're talking about this again. But I mean, although she's found a lot of success through the release of the song, she's also acquired quite a lot of hate as a result. There have been people saying that the song is too vulgar and that it's too sexual, and the song is degrading to women. We've heard opinions from politicians to actors and everyone in between, but Cardi and her creation have been at the center of it all. Cardi doesn't seem to care much about what people think of her because she's proud of what she's created, but that doesn't stop people from hating her. Cardi's faced backlash in the past for allegedly assaulting men and for her criminal background, but she's never changed for anyone, and I doubt she ever will. Cardi really just remains unfazed by the whole thing. In at 8, Doja Cat. Doja Cat, my apparent celebrity doppelganger, got some serious hate this year just for it all to be rescinded. The singer was cancelled and even had her very own over party trending on Twitter just for people to double back and apologize, saying that they were wrong and taking back her cancellation. What started the controversy that had people hating on her earlier this year was a resurfaced video of Doja Cat in an alt-right chat room. People online were claiming that she was participating in the chat talking to racists and laughing at their racist jokes, so naturally they pegged Doja as a racist as well. Following the chat room allegations, one of her old songs resurfaced where people were claiming that she was making fun of victims of police brutality. Obviously this was pretty bad and Doja was getting a lot of hate for it, but soon enough the claims that Doja was racist were debunked as the truth about the chat rooms came out, saying that they were not racist at all and Doja had never said anything racist. Soon the hashtag "We Are Sorry Doja" started trending, and the whole scandal pretty much blew over as if nothing happened. At 7, Tana Mongeau. Tana Mongeau is no stranger to getting hate, that's for damn sure. But 2020 has brought on a new wave of hate, prompting Tana to be forced to take accountability for her past actions. An influencer named Kaylin Berry made a video titled "Finally Revealing the Truth About Tana Mongeau," where he talked about how Tana mistreated him when they worked on a channel together called Trash back in 2016. Not too long after the video was released, another influencer by the name of Vanessa Briella came forward to talk about Tana, as well as her manager Jordan Verona. Both Kaylin and Nessa accused Tana and her manager of gaslighting, spreading lies, and dismissing the feelings of the black creators who they worked with. The allegations came up following the Black Lives Matter movement, where a lot of people had been coming forward to highlight the microaggressions against black people in the industry. Fans called on Tana to address the situation and take accountability for her actions. She finally released an apology video addressing everything she's been accused of, but people thought the video was stale and robotic and gave her a hard time for that too. In at number 6, Evangeline Lilly. Back in March, when the world was starting to lock down and address the global health crisis, we saw some celebrities make some questionable judgments on the situation, as well as voice some pretty unpopular opinions. Back when Gal Gadot was singing to the internet to lift spirits, and Vanessa Hudgens was speaking ill of those affected by the virus, we saw Marvel actress Evangeline Lilly posting about how she was dealing with the global health crisis. In an Instagram post, Lilly posted that it was business as usual and she dropped her kids off at gymnastics class and went on with her day. Backlash ensued, and in response, the actress said that the lockdown protocols felt like martial law and that she valued her freedom over her life. A very unpopular opinion. Even Game of Thrones star Sophie Turner chimed in to call Evangeline's decision stupid. I mean, it's not the smartest decision, but that's just my opinion.
In at number 5, Tana Mongeau. Tana Mongoose, as I like to call her, has over 5 million subscribers and truthfully only has that by being close to uber controversial Jake Paul. But you already knew that. When I spoke with the rest of the office, they mutually agreed that just the fact that her YouTube page said her name was Tana Paul, it was enough to call her up for being hated now. Even James Charles can't stand her, which is odd because they seem like they would be two peas in a pod. Tana reportedly once showed up 3 hours late for a film shoot with James, and then throughout the entire video did nothing but cause disaster. Upon even searching her name next to the word hated, I found several cut together clips all with the same title. Okay, Tanda annoying insert influencer name for 2 minutes straight. So it's almost like she found a niche in the market of annoying people on YouTube professionally. Plus, you know, there was that whole fake wedding fight stunt that she and Jake pulled off, and they even charged their viewers anywhere from $50 to $75 just to watch it. In at number 4, Lilly Singh. Her channel has garnered nearly 15 million subscribers and her tagline is comedy, inspiration, good vibes. Well, if that were the case, then why do we only get bad vibes from this now hated YouTuber? Many fans of Lilly were with her in her early days, but as they began to grow up, they soon realized that Lilly wasn't evolving with them. A lot of her common complaints are that her content has become rather stale. Combine that with a more arrogant attitude now that she has a late night show, and you begin to have fans starting to jump ship. No one likes watching someone that feels ungrateful for what they have, and even worse, no one likes watching her deliver those hacky, tired monologue jokes on Late Night with Lilly Singh. Plus, her mom and dad character should have been retired early on in her career. It feels like more of the same thing whenever you cringe watch her videos. In at number 3, Trisha Paytas. Born in California, Trisha was raised in Illinois before returning to Los Angeles, where she began stripping and acting on the side. She primarily worked as an extra and appeared in a number of different music videos for artists including Eminem and Amy Winehouse. Her YouTube account was a lifestyle vlogging channel, but this is where she got herself into some serious hot water. Her videos are an annoying combination of being bizarre and boring all at the same time. She has repeated meltdowns in videos that she deems worthy of uploading and has a shrill voice to top it all off. A moment we should never forget was the evidence brought forward by YouTuber Nikocado Avocado that plopped Trisha into the pathological liar category. What's more annoying is how Trisha handled the whole situation. Nikocado had legit messages from Trisha saying that she wanted to collab with him, only for her to turn around and make several videos where she actually made fun of this fellow YouTuber. She also made fun of his weight, which is ironic because she more than anyone understands the psychological damage that they can have on a person. And as a result, she lost a lot of followers. In at number 2, Jeffree Star. Jeffree Star Cosmetics Company has brought in hundreds of millions of dollars, and according to Forbes, he is now the most powerful figure in the industry. Star first rose to fame when his makeup vlogs on YouTube became popular, and from there he went on to launch his own cosmetics line. Before that though, he was a modestly successful MySpace musician. However, now that he is intertwined with all of the drama happening in the beauty community, he is being bombarded with hate. Cameron Lester called him and Shane Dawson out for using him as their token black friend for their videos, and from there it just kinda got worse. Their troublesome friendship really came about when Shane wanted to document Star in what would be called the beautiful world of Jeffree Star. Following Cameron's video, Jeffree left him a voicemail and denied his allegations against him. The voicemail was leaked to drama channels and contributed to the negative wave that would soon erupt after Shane acknowledged the rumors about his role in the feud between Charles, Westbrook, and Star. Last but certainly not least, in our number 1 spot, Shane Dawson. Shane was one of the first people on YouTube that garnered popularity, and he has managed to continually grow that audience over the years. In 2008, when Dawson was 19 years old, he joined YouTube and began making videos. He rose to fame on the site, garnering over 500 million views by 2010. Although now those old comedy sketch videos have come back to bite him. Aside from all the drama that he has gotten involved with in the beauty community, he certainly has his own controversial issues. It's crazy how fast he went from being one of the most loved YouTubers to now one of the most hated. There is so many things that he's done, from blackface to some very inappropriate comments, and now the ever so popular video of him with Willow.
In at number 10, Marvel. Now this 10th point has layers because I'm sure many of you are aware of the levels of hate Brie has received over time. But if not, well, buckle up because you're in for a hella long ride. Point 10A starts with the most recent release of her newest film, The Marvels, which dropped on Marvel Entertainment's YouTube channel on April 11, 2023. This trailer is the company's most disliked ever release, and despite a lot of fan speculation that it's solely Brie's fault, there's another running theory that the inclusion of an all-female superhero cast may be behind some of that flack. The film snippet was released earlier this week, and as of now has received 468,000 dislikes, significantly catching up to its current total likes of 497,000. Though upon its initial reveal, the number of dislikes surpassed the likes by thousands. Now we turn into point 10.B, which touches on how much Marvel fans despised Brie from the start and why. Though it's not truly known for being one specific thing, she has since received a lot of slack for pretty much endless reasons. Whether it's her sudden lack of enthusiasm or something deeper, Brie has pretty much seen it all, but we'll discuss that more later on. Finally, our 10-point C point is her Captain Marvel role. Brie was heavily praised for her roles in comedic films. Before landing Captain Marvel, the actress excelled in being humorous. But down the road, things seemed to drastically change. As she sunk further and further into her CM role, the majority of her humor notably disappeared. It got to a point where fans dubbed her unfit for her character, with some arguing that her ego got in the way of her natural talent. She was originally chosen for the role because she could balance simultaneously being sassy and funny. However, the longer she stayed in her Marvel role, the further she seemed to stray from that naturality. All the years of hate resulted in Brie addressing whether or not she planned to continue portraying Captain Marvel. But that leads us right into our 9th point. Before we break down the rest of today's list though, be sure to smash that like button on today's top 10 countdown. In at number 9, arrogant actress. If you were looking for that solid reason why Brie is so hated as an actress, these next 9 points may just confirm everything, but specifically our 9th point. Marvel fans never seem to forgive the claimed fact that Brie has become far too egotistical for her role in the MCU. And the worst part, supposedly it's not even her playing Captain Marvel that brought about her supposed arrogance, but rather what the role did to seemingly fill up her head and cause an attitude. Reports state that the instant Brie was phased into a major franchise, she transitioned into this conceited actress who now takes being talented for granted. Because of this, her acting quality has taken a supposed hit and now reflects her off-screen character harshly. It also turns fans off and leaves them with a sour taste in their mouth. For example, most notably, collective groans from MCU fans were heard worldwide when the announcement for Brie's reprisal of Carol Danvers was released. Her recast for the Marvels, as aforementioned, showed Brie as another huge addition to the film after her main character moment in her superhero flick, Captain Marvel. While embarking on various interviews and press tours for the OGCM movie and simultaneously promoting Avengers Endgame, devoted Marvel supporters found just about every way to criticize Brie's every move, dubbing her aggressive, snarky, defensive, and arrogant amid endless other ridicule. Following the 2019 release of Captain Marvel, hardcore MCU fans ripped Brie and her portrayal apart, claiming her character was poorly thought out and her acting measured up to such. Both ahead of and after Avengers Endgame came out, shortly after Brie's films, a handful of MCU actors, including Brie this time, shared a press tour. During these sit-downs, fans assumed Brie's castmates disliked her and her behavior, eventually resulting in compilations of the shadiest moments online. The D23 Expo was the first to see the Captain Marvel sequel, and when Brie was questioned by a Variety journalist on how long she planned to portray her newer Avengers character, in line with the original sequence of retirements, Brie arguably replied in a snarky manner. She shrugged nonchalantly while looking around and exclaiming, "I don't know, does anyone want me to do it again?" Seeming taken aback, the journalist chuckled while glancing at the camera, assuming Brie was just being modest. However, Brie seemed to be addressing the intense hatred she received ever since originally taking on her character. Spreading like wildfire on the internet, fans began sharing a list of names to steal Brie's role, including Zendaya, Blake Lively, Jennifer Lawrence, Emilia Clarke, and Sophie Turner. To this day, the interview's replies are toxified with hate for the actress, as many labeled Brie insufferable. Slated for its November 2023 release, it seems Brie's haters will have to chew the metal in their mouths over her role a bit longer, as she appears to be in it for the long run. In at number 8, no good rumors. Rumors are always gonna do it for just about any star. So of course, when Brie stepped out into the limelight and grew her following, she wasn't excluded from the gossip and speculation surrounding her newer life. Not when she was also soon being hated for simply breathing within the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The rumors of Brie's on-set behavior, for one, is a running theory that just can't be squashed. And regardless if there's any real truth to the matter or not, they've already marked Brie's character. So much so that reports announced Don Cheadle confirming the speculation surrounding Brie in the past. But instead of feeding into the mess, Don actually revealed that fans were reading far too much into her rumored bad blood with her castmates. In a series of since-deleted tweets sourced by Looper, Don formally wrote regarding the fact, "Whoever you are, take a break from your detective work. We're all good. Hope you enjoyed the movie." And to take things one step further, Don even added the actress, finalizing, "So many speculators tonight, ma. See you tomorrow." Clearly, these bouts of rumors continue to play into the hot water Brie's landed in time and time again though. But I, for one, am glad Don put at least those rumors to rest for good. In at number 7, white actress, white influence. A huge portion of Brie's controversies actually stems from her stance on white influence, believe it or not. She takes a stand to push awareness but receives much backlash in return. Because while her intentions seem good, it also appears Brie doesn't fully grasp the understanding of not being a Caucasian actress in the industry. While she is bold to discuss the topic, those conversations don't hold much to her overall success and the roles she continues to land. And of course, this isn't really only her fault, but it still showcases a specific misunderstanding misunderstanding behind the curtains. Once the show unveils, Brie continues to speak what she feels is right, but unfortunately ends up representing her messages wrong. In at number 6, controversies. In even more controversial displays comes the world's triggered disdain for the actress due to how loudly she pushes for change in award categorizations. Now, this may seem backwards, but since Brie has become a previous Academy Award winner for her past work, she's been dubbed hypocritical for speaking against the same accolade show for their decisions, according to netizens. However, Brie has been insistent on how much she disapproves of the way prestigious awards are voted on and critiqued. Brie has even taken a stand by releasing various statements echoing the sentiment. But of course, her calls to action have all been displayed very publicly, leading to the people calling her out for calling out the staff and film critics' diversities, which are in charge of interviewing nominations and making the ultimate decisions.
Halfway through at number 5, Amber Heard. Aquaman actress Amber Heard has been in the news a lot lately, but not at all for anything positive. Amber and ex-husband Johnny Depp have been in an ugly court battle fighting allegations made by the Sun newspaper, saying that Johnny had been abusing the actress. For a long time, people actually believed the allegations to be true, but finally, the real truth came out that revealed that the actual abuser was Amber. For years, people had held the allegations of abuse against Johnny, which subsequently hurt his career. But after finding out that the situation was actually the other way around, fans are coming to Johnny's defense. The whole story really opened people's eyes to the stereotypes surrounding abuse. People often forget that although male abusers are more common and more talked about, men actually face domestic violence and abuse by their partners as well. Since the news broke about Amber's abuse against Johnny broke, fans have been demanding accountability be taken, as well as justice. There's even a petition going around requesting that Amber be removed from the upcoming Aquaman sequel. As the court proceedings carried on, we found out more about the alleged abuse that Amber had committed. Things like severing Johnny's fingertip and cases of verbal abuse are all over this case. Fans are feeling sorry that they didn't come to Johnny's defense sooner, and this whole thing is just so heartbreaking. Johnny has been through so much over the past few years, dealing with some serious relationship turmoil, abuse, and even having to deal with the public accusing you of said abuse even though you are actually the victim in this scenario must really suck. Obviously, people are straight pissed with Amber Heard, and for good reason too. In at number 4, Kanye West. Rapper Kanye West has been making a lot of headlines this year, mostly for his bid to run for president. In a very public display, Kanye has been all over social media talking about his presidential campaign, among other things. At his rally in South Carolina, things got pretty heated for the artist as he went into a sort of manic episode and started going on about things completely unrelated to his campaign. Among those odd topics were stories about Kim Kardashian's conception of their first child North, as well as his views on religion and his belief that abolitionist Harriet Tubman actually sold slaves instead of freeing them. Now, in defense of Kanye and everything he's been saying recently, it does seem that he's in a bad place mental health wise, and a lot of people are trying to get him some help, but I can see why a lot of people are upset with him. Many of the things that Kanye has spoken out about have deeply offended people, including his own family. Shortly after that catastrophe of a rally took place, his wife Kim Kardashian took to Twitter in an effort to de-escalate the situation, but also to voice her disappointment in what Kanye said that night, especially about their eldest daughter. All in all, Kanye's been in some trouble online, and although he seems to be getting the help that he needs, I don't think that fans will be too quick to forgive him, or even vote for him for that matter. Chugging on through to number 3, we have Jeffree Star. Makeup mogul and YouTuber Jeffree Star has been on a lot of people's hate lists for some time now, but this year, with the explosion of the Black Lives Matter movement, people are coming for his many wigs once again. In another resurfaced scandal, Star is being accused of racism for like the billionth time in his career on the internet. The YouTuber has carried around the label of being a racist for many years and has made countless apology videos for that. But this year, fans have had enough of him. After an old website of Jeffree's resurfaced on the internet with offensive language as well as photos of him posing with the Confederate flag, Jeffree is back on the fiery coals of Twitter and he's getting roasted. I don't think anyone's really surprised at this point. I mean, 2020 is the year of cancellation, so obviously Jeffree has to be a part of it. Fans are also still angry with him over his involvement with the infamous Dramageddon from last year, and as Dramageddon 2.0 began to rear its ugly head once more this year, Jeffree's reputation took a massive hit. Between his accusations, his past, and just him being Jeffree, he's lost followers, business, and even his collaboration with Morphe. He's had so much backlash over the years that I don't really think anything will change with him. He's made yet another apology video and has just continued on with his life, so I guess that it's only a matter of time before we see him caught in the middle of a next YouTube drama. Coming in close to the end of number 2, we've got Shane Dawson. Speaking of problematic YouTubers, let's talk about Shane Dawson. Shane, much like his YouTube counterpart Jeffree Star, has also had his fair share of YouTube controversies. Shane has also had a reputation for being quite offensive. This year, alongside Jeffree, he has also faced cancellation on the internet. Once again, after footage of him in blackface resurfaced, he was called out for his past racist behavior. As every good YouTuber does, he made an apology video, but that wasn't enough for many fans. As if his current situation couldn't get much worse, YouTuber Tati Westbrook, remember her from Dramageddon? Yeah, she called Dawson out and accused him of being a part of the orchestration of the whole Dramageddon fiasco. Oh, and I'm not done. Shane was also called out by none other than Jaden Smith himself on Twitter. The son of actor Will Smith criticized Shane for making sexualized remarks towards his sister, Willow Smith, back when her song Whip My Hair was first released. In the resurfaced video, Shane is seen in front of a poster of then 11-year-old Willow Smith and acting out in a sexual manner. Both Jaden and Jada Smith were upset about the video and demanded accountability. Since all of this unfolded, Shane's been MIA from the internet and no one knows if or when he'll be back. One thing's for sure, however, no one's gonna be forgiving Shane for a while. Finally, capping things off at number 1, we have Ellen DeGeneres. Now, I'm sure this doesn't come as a surprise to you guys, but here in the number 1 spot, we obviously have Ellen DeGeneres. I mean, come on guys, she's had the biggest scandal of the year and we're not even done the year yet. 2020 has not been a good year to be Ellen. But just as a recap, Ellen has been getting absolutely destroyed in the media and on the internet this year. It all has to do with her bad attitude and poor work environment on the set of the Ellen DeGeneres show. We've seen new developments with this story come around at least once a week, and it doesn't seem to be settling down anytime soon. She's had allegations of poor workplace behavior and misconduct be thrown at her, as well as to other execs from the show since the beginning of this year, and it just seems to have snowballed since then. As more and more former employees have come forward to share their horror stories of the celebrity, Ellen's grave has just been dug deeper and deeper. At this point, there's no saving her career. I mean, 1 or 2 scandals here and there can be redeemed, but if you've been facing the hellstorm that is Twitter for months, there's no coming back from that. Even when Twitter decided to cancel Genghis Khan for who knows what, even he could come back from that, and he's been dead for 800 years. Ellen, sorry to say, but you might be Hollywood's newest public enemy number 1.